Welcome back to Podium Esports coverage of Series 5 of the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series, live from the virtual WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey, California. James Pike, the voice of Podium Esports, alongside Taylor Burris and Ryan Bauer up at the production trailer as we bring you our third race of the evening for the PCA Club Class, sponsored by Michelin. Michelin, a better way forward. Third race of the night, and names that I think you'll have seen. We start to make our way into the more experienced drivers of PCA Sim Racing, and names that you have seen in races before, no question. A few new names in this class, which is a testament to their ability to jump in and be competitive. But for the most part here, if you've been a veteran of PCA Sim Racing and you've been watching these races throughout Series 1 through 3 and 4, you'll know some of the folks here and should be ready for the regulars to do battle once again. I think they're ready to bring the action to you, as Lee Diffie would say.
Yeah, this is going to be the all-star kind of version of the race class here, as we have some of the heavier hitters coming into play. I mean, one driver who I'm looking forward to watching tonight is probably a fan favorite when it comes to the PCA, Trey Drawhorn, who's currently sitting in P2 right now behind Sergio Pacion right now in the top two, and a lot of other drivers, Clifton Lipple, Ed Nelson, Sean Benet. I mean, it's a who's who in here.
Jared Rodeheaver, Ed Nelson, Mark Harris, Michael Evans, Brett Holmes, Jake Steinbrink, James Sue, a lot of drivers who have been in PCA Sim Racing for a long while. Mike Neiden, part of the steering committee and one of the most influential figures in all of PCA Sim Racing, part of this bunch as well. He's in the mix. So
talk about a man who has stories, Mike Neiden.
Yes. Plenty. I was going to say, the two of us were down at the Rolex 24 back in January and got the chance to chat with Mike. And Mike can tell a fair few amount of good stories, and good stories at that. Emphasis on the good part. So plenty of fun to take care of. But we remind you that Michelin is our presenting partner for the club class. Best tire for Porsches, I would argue, if they have their say. And we don't need to explain Michelin. I think everybody knows the Michelin man and their fantastic tires and so on and so forth.
I mean, when you have a pedigree such as Michelin, I mean, multiple 24 hours winners of Le Mans, Daytona. I mean, when you have a pedigree such as that, plus multiple championships in multiple different sports car and endurance racing series, you can't go better than Michelin.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good, to say the least.
At the very least.
Pretty good. we'll make it work, though, and spare you all the jokes, at least for now. But plenty of fun, I think, to be had amongst the some 30 or so cars that are going to take the green flag tonight. And Sergio Pacion, one of the new names. I think maybe something fitting and something entertaining about seeing a new name up at the top of the grid so far.
Indeed, and he is definitely putting a lot of heads turning right now with that. When he set in practice, he didn't really set a good time. He ran a 1:30.23, but then jumps into qualifying and sets a 1:29.49, almost a tenth faster than Trey Drawhorn, which is phenomenal. So it's going to be a lot to keep an eye on tonight between Sergio, Trey, and the rest of the field right now, who is currently the top three are the only drivers to break into the 129 mark, and they're over a half a second faster than the rest of the field.
We'll see who ends up being fastest at the end of the night, but for now, it's time to bring you the starting grid for the club class of PCA Sim Racing as they kick off their Series 5, presented by Michelin, a better way forward. Sergio Pacion rolls off from P1. Trey Drawhorn rolls off from P2. Insert pause here for the Trey Drawhorn fan club to go nuts in chat as they do. Okay, we'll carry on. Time for the rest of the drivers to build up their own fan club in the same way. Rafael Amarim rolls off from P3. Fourth will be Clifton Lipple. Jared Rodeheaver rolls off from P5. P6 is Evan Close. Stephen Chen begins tonight from 7th. 8th will be Ed Nelson. 9th, Spencer Carazzi. And Mark Harris rolls off from 10th.
Michael Evans will be starting in the 11th position with Sean Benet in 12th. Mario Gonzalez in 13th with Kevin Douglas from Douglasville, Pennsylvania will be joining us in 14th position. In 15th will be Brett Holmes, John Paul Lennox in 16th with Klaus Nielsen in 17th. Jake Steinbrink will be starting in the 18th position with James Sue in 19th and Jeremy Mazzariello in 20th.
And just to make sure that people recognize that it was not a joke, it was not a hoax, Kevin Douglas actually is from Douglasville, Pennsylvania. One of those perfect coincidences. Tamer Elbaga rolls off from 21st this evening. 22nd will be Sean Murphy. Robert Cottle begins from 23rd this evening. 24th, Patrick Gill. Andrew Elsom, another one of those Peach Staters, rolls off from 25th. Bruce Robinson is 26th. Brian Mousing rolls off from 27th. 28th. Our challenge class champion from a season ago, Brady McMacken. John Patterson will be near the back end of the field, but has time to carry up through the grid. Michael Patterson is going to be the one that rolls off from 29. 30th will be Rodney Campbell, Mike Knighton, Colin Thomas, and John Patterson rounding out the grid for this third race as we take a look at the track facts once again. This is WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. The full layout that opened up back around 1960. It is a 4.048 mile, 6.515 kilometer circuit with 11 turns. And again, we race at sunrise. It is about 7:20 a.m. local time on Friday, May 15th, 2020, default day for iRacing that date. So we take a look at track temps. It's a little bit warmer, actually, this time around. 66 degrees Fahrenheit air temp, 67 degrees Fahrenheit track temp. Winds headed to the northwest at 14 miles an hour and humidity of 74%. So nowhere near as humid as it was in that sport race. But should be a lot of fun, I think, to see these drivers get after it. And again, we remind you all that setups for tonight's broadcast, for those unable to take the time to put together their own open setup, comes to us by courtesy and by way of our friends at Virtual Racing School. We thank them for their partnership with PCA Sim Racing, as they once again provide setups for these drivers. You'll see two setups, basically. Drivers who will bring in their own open setup, and then those who don't have the time to put together their own setup will be on that VRS setup. So we'll see how well these drivers are and how good they are at tinkering with the mechanics underneath these cars to get a little bit more speed out of them. But big thanks to VRS, in addition to Michelin, of course, for their support of this PCA Sim Racing Club class. Sailor Burris, final thoughts on what we should see in this race after an eventful second race in the sport class.
We'll probably see a little bit of mix from what we saw in the previous two classes. Some drivers taking it easy, some drivers showing aggression. It's all about now having the balance of the two to make it work for them to either come home with a clean car and finishing strong, or coming home with a damaged race car in the pits. So a lot is at stake right now.
Looking at chat here, seeing a lot of Trey fans, seeing a lot of Mike Knighton fans. Glad to have all of you with us here on PCA Sim Racing's YouTube channel for Series 5 as Sergio Pazian takes y'all and leads us to green. We are underway with the club class for Series 5, and look at the big jump a little bit further back there. That is Jared Roadheaver, who had a pretty solid start and had to check up there. Couldn't quite get around Rafael Amarim, who is trying to hold off Trey Drawhorn. It goes to his outside as they all wreck and go way off the racetrack just behind. As 3 or 4 cars slide off, and we carry off into the morning, I suppose, here with a little bit less cars at the front.
Yeah, a big issue indeed for Clifton Lipple and several other cars. And with thanks to the new damage model that we have on iRacing, there is parts all over the Andretti hairpin right now. So going to have to get a cleanup crew out there to clean that up as they continue racing here at WeatherTech Raceway.
It was Stephen Chen who just completely missed the braking zone and got into Evan Close, and Chen got into Clifton Lipple and Jared Roadheaver, and that group, not really much they could have done, I think.
Oh, trouble for Sergio. He goes off and hits a tire barrier. He's got damage. There goes Trey Drawhorn and Rafael Armon right now as they'll continue on, but a terrible situation for our pole sitter.
Just had the tail end come out from underneath him, so we've already had an eventful first lap. He just got in the gas too fast, and it is now Rafael Amarim ahead of Trey Drawhorn and Spencer Karate now up into the 3rd position.
And got to keep your head on a swivel here right now with everything going on right now, as we have a battle between Spencer and Sean Benet as they head into turn 11.
Spencer, who started in ninth, mind you, goes wide over on the last turn. So now here comes Sean Benet to the inside. And now here comes Ed Nelson looking for room as Nelson tries to get down to the bottom and will indeed get underneath Karate and will make the move going into the Andretti hairpin. He'll take it wide. Karate will go wider. Almost tried to get down into Nelson, but realized that Nelson was there, couldn't really do much about it. Now he's going to lose more spots. There goes Mark Harris, and there goes Michael Evans to the outside of Karate's numbers 50 receiver.
Spencer is struggling a little bit right now after those two corners, so he has a little bit of work to do right now as he tries to now hold off a hard-charging Michael Evans and Mario Gonzalez as they come up towards the Mother's Polishing Wax Bridge now before they head towards the Rahal Straight.
We've had an adventure here in these first few laps. I think that's the only way to put it. We thought that Sport Race had a lot to offer us. I think we've got a little bit more to work with here in this club race. As Karate is hanging on and Harris is sitting at the front of this train with Ed Nelson. And Nelson's really the one that's playing Pied Piper from fourth on back, because Benet and John and Amarim have all separated themselves from that group.
They certainly have. This Brown broken up to, about 4 seconds from the third place of Sean Benet to our race leader, Raphael, who's currently just pulling away right now, has over a second faster than Trey Drawhorn.
He takes it off, and we'll take a look at lap times as they come across the stripe. We'll get a good sense here of what these drivers can do at pace. And Amarim with a 30.3 to Drawhorn's 30.9 and a 30.4 for Sean Benet. So Drawhorn the slowest out of those front three, and then Ed Nelson with the 32. So pretty solid gap between those front three and the rest of the field. So we'll keep an eye on that front group, but as it stands, we'll slide back to Ed Nelson because he's got Mark Harris all over him for P4.
He is definitely putting the pressure on Ed Nelson as they come up to the Firestone Bridge right now. He looks to the inside as they go through their next corner, but still no way to get around him as he tries to get his nose underneath Ed Nelson, but can't quite make it work. Now he tries to go the long way around as they come underneath the Mother's Bridge.
So Nelson, part of the Pacific Northwest region. That's Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, and Washington State. Harris, part of the Connecticut Valley region, which covers the state of Connecticut and goes north up to Springfield, Massachusetts. As Harris goes up the leaderboard, he gets around Ed Nelson. Karate gets to the inside, and that kink coming up the rail straight to the corkscrew, and it looks like Nelson's going to slot in behind Michael Evans as Harris gets around everyone, and now he is the leader of this train in P4.
I'm just amazed by so much action that has happened. We've seen some drivers trying to show the patience and try to just bring the car home. And then we see some who are just going for it, being super aggressive early on to try and get in the correct position so that way they can ride around on the circuit. But right now, drivers such as Ed Nelson, Mario Gonzalez, all of them are just going after each other, trying to get in the best position before they start trying to catch up to the race leaders.
Blitzing through all this is what they're doing. As Mark Harris now in fourth, Benet hanging on to that third spot, but he's got plenty of breathing room. It's almost 5 seconds back to where Mark Harris is, and about a minute. Well, not a minute. How about call it 2.8 seconds between Benet and Drawhorn in second and third. Drawhorn actually was faster than Amarim that last time by. It was the 30.4 to 29.9. So Drawhorn might be figuring this place out a little bit. But again, those front three still a solid 2 seconds faster than everybody else in this field. We know who the cream of the crop in this race are already, I think, Taylor.
Yeah, we already see that, and it's going to be an interesting season as the season progresses. I mean, Sean Benet, Trey Drawhorn are definitely going to be some of the fan favorites for sure. But Raphael Armin is definitely going to be one to watch. He is definitely pulling away from the rest of the field. Has about a 1.8 second lead over Trey Drawhorn and continues to grow as this race progresses.
We'll take a lap bump over Trey Drawhorn here and see how he gets around WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, and see if he can't gain a little bit on Amarim. Here's a shot on board the 395. They hit the line, and last time by, Trey Drawhorn was faster by almost half a second than Rafael Amarim. So keep your eyes up on that 395 who was making the charge. Unfortunately, we do have to report that Ed Nelson has pulled it behind the wall and is done for the night. He wrecked over right underneath the bridge by the lagoon. Just lost control on the exit of turn 3, spun it and hit the fence, and is done for the evening. So unfortunate early end to Ed Nelson's race, but you got that Amarim Drawhorn battle, which is getting ever so closer at the front. Mark Harris has started to come down on his lap times, though. He's got a good machine down to the 31s. But how about this battle between Spencer Karate and Michael Evans for 5th and 6th, Taylor?
Yeah, a great battle indeed. Here comes Evans trying to take the long way around to get around Karate, but can't quite make it work as they approach the VP Racing Field Bridge and try to go up the Ray Hall Straight. The Ray Hall Straight is a good opportunity to set up for a pass for the corkscrew. You have the slipstream you can use to try and gain on your competition and either try to swing it to the inside or try to just wait and see if the driver in front of you makes a mistake for you to capitalize on it.
Potentially is. Oh, wow, look at this. Okay, we need to go back to the lead only because Trey Drawhorn has caught Rafael Amarim, and they are absolutely nose to tail. And the battle for the race lead in this PCA Club Clash presented by Michelin is officially on, and Drawhorn was a full second faster than Amarim. He looks to the inside at the Andretti hairpin and might give a little up tap to that number 24 machine, and did indeed. That checked up Drawhorn just a bit, but there's no doubt that Trey Drawhorn is charging.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I can even across all of internet, I can hear the Drawhorn crowd roaring in eruption, trying to cheer their favorite driver into the race lead as they're now coming up underneath the Mother's Bridge, heading up towards the Ray Hall Straight. Trey Drawhorn doing everything that he can to try and take the lead away.
I sort of get the sense with the Drawhorn camp that if it were in person and/or we had a Zoom call of them, that it would sound something akin to the crowd every time Dale Jr. took the lead at Talladega, where you wouldn't necessarily hear the audience and hear the crowd at a race on a broadcast, but when Jr. took the lead down at Talladega, you knew, because the noise picked up. I get the sense that a Drawhorn pass for the lead would be about as popular, so we'll keep our eyes peeled on Drawhorn and Amarim. And lots of love for Trey coming through in chat, although we know we've got some Amarim fans in this mix as well. And of course, Trey, one of the drivers from the Chicagoland region, and Amarim, another one of the Peach Staters from Greater Atlanta. So Chicago versus Atlanta.
I can't really think.
Yeah,
I mean,
you really think of it like the Bears
and Falcons. Yeah, but they didn't really have a history in sports together. I mean, they might have battled each other, but other than that, it wasn't like anything like Chicago versus New York.
New York, right. Yeah, I get what you were going. I picked up what you were putting down there. So maybe not a surprise. Actually, interestingly enough. So Amarim was faster than Drawhorn on that last lap, but Drawhorn's already got the gap down to within maybe 3 or 4 car lengths.
Yeah, it's about 4/10 between them, and they're also coming up on a little bit of lap traffic, just one car, but still, there's a lot of time where we could see some more lap traffic come into play as you hear Trey Drawhorn now looks and right on the back bumper, dropped it to 2/10, and gets a great run out of that corner to set up for the Ray Hall Straight as they utilize the slipstream underneath the Bubba Burger banner right there to head towards the corkscrew, and into the braking zone they will go, and still going to be nose to tail. No one's giving an inch between these two drivers.
More importantly, look at how much ground Drawhorn gained of the braking zone to the corkscrew. It was about 2 or 3 car lengths that he just ate up out of Amarim's gap, and I mean just chewed it down like it was a Bubba Burger, because he came flying into the corner and made it work. Makes you think that the brake bias might be tuned up a little bit on that 395 to give him a little bit more stopping power later on in these braking zones, but in either case, it's helping him to run down the 24, and again, Drawhorn faster by 1/10. And I wonder, after their little get-together in the Andretti hairpin, if Drawhorn might be trying to find a different place to set this up and maybe make the pass elsewhere on the racetrack.
He could. He may try a different opportunity to pass. I mean, you got to try different avenues. You can't just utilize on the same corner or the same line. You got to go where the leader is not in order to make this pass. And I'm pretty sure Trey is familiar and a more experienced driver where he knows he needs to start doing that now before it's too late for him later on in the run.
They continue to carry on. It's not the only good battle, though, on track. Karate's leading a train of about 5, 6, 7 cars, and Michael Evans is all over the rear bumper of that 50 machine. We'll slide back a little bit as we wait to see how Amarine versus Jawhorn pans out, but Evans is right there on Karate. But if he slips up, you got Mario Gonzalez and James Hsu also in the mix, ready to pounce.
He is right there all over the back bumper. I mean, it's 4 cars under a blanket pretty much. Here comes James Hsu to the back bumper of Mario Gonzalez as they go down the Ray Hall Straight right now, underneath the Bubba Burger banner right now as they head to the corkscrew. Into the braking zone they will go, still lined up nose to tail, 4 cars under a blanket as Karate is doing a great job as they go through Rainy Curve, holding off these 4 drivers. But I'm wondering if Michael Evans or Gonzalez is able to get around Karate, will they be able to slowly but surely catch up to drivers such as Marco Harris and Sean Benet?
Michael Evans, part of the Shenandoah region of the PCA, which covers the Shenandoah Valley in the Appalachian Mountain Range of Virginia. And if anybody ever tells you it's a long A, I won't say they don't know what they're talking about, but I can't say they are factually wrong. I've never heard of an Appalachian state. Have you, Taylor?
I've never heard of an Appalachian state.
I have heard of an Appalachian state.
I have heard.
Right, which I think makes the point. But in either case, Shenandoah Valley covers a lot of the Appalachian Range in Virginia, and that region also extends east to Charlottesville, Virginia, home to the University of Virginia and their Cavaliers, who had a pretty good sports year last year. National championship in men's basketball and a berth in the Orange Bowl for the first time in program history for the football team. So very good. Here. But there it is, right on cue. Trey Jawhorn gets it done and gets around Rafael Amarine, and we have a new race leader and made that pass pretty easily in that braking zone in the corkscrew, as I suspected he might. But new leader out of the Chicago region of the PCA in the club class, the 395 of Trey Jawhorn.
And the fans have erupted once again. You can hear them all commenting in the section below as we see Trey starting to pull away from his competition from Rafael as they come across the start-finish line. Now 7/10 of a second separate the 2 drivers as they head into the Andretti hairpin.
So now that we have that lead done, I will make the point, just because I do see Jim popping in chat, our dear friend Jim Hinding. He says that McCracken's livery is awesome. I believe he means Brady McMacken, who I feel like I've seen some wallpaper apps come together and put together that sort of rainbow fest. But honestly, I look at that and my brain thinks somewhere between like donut with sprinkles and like birthday cake ice cream sprinkles, something in that ballpark.
I was thinking just a bunch of Legos mixed together in that paint scheme by what it looks like.
Or like watercolor, or like Andy Warhol maybe.
Probably, if you want to do that way too.
We just need like a Campbell's soup can or a banana or something in there if we want to go for the full Warhol effect. But
yeah,
I'll give Jim credit. He's got a good eye, and that is a very entertaining scheme on the 503 machine. McMacken currently running in the 23rd spot, and a winner of what is now the challenge class in Series 4 back in the spring. So he's got a little bit of experience in PCA sim racing and success as well. Comes out of the Oregon region of the PCA, which covers the greater Portland area. So Oregon really well represented in Series 5 at the start. They've had a strong run to begin the season, and it seems like we've got a lot of folks from the Pacific Northwest involved, even though local time there is right around 6:30.
Yeah, well, it's about 9 o'clock here on the East Coast, so about 3 hours ahead of us or behind us right now. So it's still early for them. It's still dinner time. While here, we're just trying to get things ready to bring this race to a close as we're approaching the 20-minute mark left on the clock. About 22.5 left there. 12 laps completed here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, as Trey Jawhorn has pulled it out to about a second lead over Rafael Amarine.
Rafael Amarim back by about a second. So all the news that all the Trey Jawhorn fans wanted to see. And how about it? I'll take the bait from chat, and I'll bite. How about Kevin Douglas from Douglasville, Pennsylvania? Yes, not a typo, but the 810 currently running in P8. And Douglas, one of the drivers who gave us a little bit of news to work with and a little bit of fun. So we can tell you a little bit more about Kevin Douglas here, driving from Douglasville, PA, part of the Reason Toyota region, which covers the greater Philadelphia area. Hasn't been sim racing all that long, but won the challenge class in the Summer Fun Series. I like what he told us about some of his greatest accomplishments in iRacing. His words, I'm working on that. So the best is yet to come for Kevin Douglas. A big fan of the 964 Porsche as well. So we'll keep our eyes on Kevin Douglas, but he currently runs in P8 just ahead of Klaus Nielsen, who's right back there in the frame as well. And then you've got that three-car train just a bit further back between Tanner Elbaga, Robert Connell, and Clifton Lipple. But a good run for Kevin Douglas so far.
Yeah, a very good run indeed, and keeping really good pace up with the 777 of Mario Gonzalez and Spencer Karate as well, who are in a headlock of a battle right now, locking bumpers. Now you see Gonzalez go to the outside of Karate as they're approaching the Andretti hairpin. Side by side, they'll go into the braking zone. You see Gonzalez on the outside, tries the crossover move to get to the inside of Karate. It won't work this time around, but he is still within striking distance to make a pass on any one of these corners.
Michael Evans has managed to scoot off the front end of this battle. He's clear by about 0.3 of a second. So I think Mario Gonzalez is beginning to recognize the urgency as he tries to get around Spencer Karate. We'll take a moment during the broadcast to remind you all that our broadcast is brought to us by our friends at Z1 Dashboard, the application for helping you with telemetry during your races. The Z1 Dashboard includes over 170 real-life dashboards with 12 track maps that will show everything you need to know about your position on track, your competitors' positions, and where you'll be after pit stops. The Z1 Dashboard can also take care of all the engineering and strategy you need within a race, whether or not it's finding out where your competition is, when you should pit, how much fuel you should take, who's in front of you and behind you, how the weather is, and whether or not you're gaining or losing time to other drivers. For more information, you can head to z1dashboard.com for more. They're offering a free sim racing software package to one EDE student in PCA sim racing each and every Friday. And tonight's lucky winner is Christoph Schitko out of the challenge class of PCA. If you want to learn how to get up to speed and potentially get yourself not only involved in PCA sim racing, but be competitive, you want to head to pcasimracing.com/EDE to sign up for that program. And when you sign up, you'll be entered in that prize giveaway. So maybe next week, it's your name that we call winning the Z1 Dashboard Sim Racing Software Package. Once again, congratulations to Christoph on being this week's winner. We are past the halfway point of tonight's race, and I suppose then time to bring you tonight's midway race break, which is brought to you by Michelin. Michelin, a better way forward. Trey Jawhorn is your leader out of the Chicago region of the PCA. Rafael Amarim runs in second. Sean Benet rides in the third spot. Fourth belongs to Mark Harris. Michael Evans runs in fifth. Sixth belongs to Spencer Karate. Mario Gonzalez holds 7th. 8th is Kevin Douglas. Klaus Nielsen runs in 9th, and 10th belongs to Tamer Elbaga.
Robert Connell is currently sitting in 11th position with Clifton Lipple in 12th. Jake Steinbrink sits in the 13th position with Sean Murphy in 14th. James Sue is in the 15th position with Andrew Elsom in 16th. Colin Thomas in 17th. John Paul Lene is in the 18th position with Mike Knighton in 19th. Rounding out your top 20, Michael Patterson.
21st is Bruce Robinson. Brady McMacken is 22nd. 23rd belongs to Brian Mousing, and Patrick Gill rides in 24th. 25th to John Matterson. Rodney Campbell rides in 26th. 27th is Brett Holmes. Stephen Chin, 28th. 29th to Evan Close, and Jeremy Mazzariello runs in 30th. Sergio Pazian, who had the pole and then lost it early, is 31st. Ed Nelson and Jared Roadheaver round out our grid tonight and our running order. And that concludes our iRacing Midway race break for the club class of PCA Sim Racing, which is brought to you by Michelin, a better way forward. So, Trey Drawhorn in the lead of the PCA Sim Racing race. We know the nerves are all over the place. Trey has not won the PCA Sim Racing event, though he has been close. He's been on the podium in class multiple times before, but never the victory on a Friday night. And for all the drivers who say it means a lot to be a winner in PCA Sim Racing, I can imagine that there are a lot of folks in Chicago biting their nails right now, Taylor, because they want it bad, but they also know how big it would be.
It would be very big indeed for these fans and drivers to take home a checkered flag here. So we'll have to keep an eye and see what will happen.
To his credit, though, Rafael Albarim has not gone away. He's within half a second, and these two have just blasted everybody else in this field. Sean Bonet is a solid 4 seconds back, and then Mark Harris is about 15 seconds back of all of this. So there's separation amongst these folks, and then you've got Karate and Douglas and Nielsen is now nearly stacked up.
Hold your breath.
Yeah, hold your breath. Let's sit here for a little bit, because I have a feeling this is about to get very interesting when you consider that the next 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, 9, 10, 11 cars in line are all racing for position behind Karate, including Clifton Lipple, who, if you remember, was part of that incident over down in the Andretti hairpin on the opening lap. He got turned around and had to right the ship and make it happen. And now Lipple just got to the inside of Robert Cottle and took over the 11th. So impressive run back up to the top 10 for Lipple, who has plenty of speed tonight.
He certainly does, and now sets his sight to break into the top 10 with Tamer Elbaga in front of him right now, as it's a gaggle of cars from 10th to probably about 6th position of Mario Gonzalez. So it's going to be an interesting little battle, but from pretty much 6 on back.
Also, Klaus Nielsen put the chop on Tamer Elbaga coming through the corner. Oh, there goes Elbaga, though. He clipped the curb and got sideways and got the grass coming out of the rainy curb. Clifton Lipple nearly did the same, but Elbaga goes around, so there goes his top 10 run as Klaus Nielsen now gets some breathing room, and Clifton Lipple enters the top 10 once again.
And a great run for Clifton to get back into the top 10, and he had a little bit of ground now to make up. He's about 1.5 seconds back from Klaus Nielsen, as he goes to the inside of Kevin Douglas in the 810, as they'll go side by side, and Nielsen will take over the position from Douglas.
Douglas just overran the corner, as simple as that. Nielsen takes over that 8th position, and now here comes Clifton Lipple, who is continuing his charge up the running order. Douglas is next in his sights, and Lipple, that last time by, was only a few tenths slower, but also had to deal with the traffic, and one-on-one, you can visibly see he is eating the gap up to that 810 car.
Certainly is, as Clifton Lipple is now up to 0.4 of a second and closing to the back bumper of Kevin Douglas as they go underneath the VP Racing Fuel Bridge and into the Ray Hall straight. Let's see if he gets a good run. He will. Will he get to the inside of Douglas? The answer will be yes. Lipple will go to the inside of Douglas from Douglasville into the braking zone, into the corkscrew, side by side. Give the position over to Clifton Lipple.
He might have that double Douglas power, but it wasn't enough to keep Clifton Lipple at bay as Lipple takes over P9, and his impressive charge back up the order continues. Lipple, you want to take a guess at what region he comes from, Taylor Burris? Just a wild hunch?
Okay. You got me on this one, James. You know I'm trying to go through the entire list.
I'm asking because the chances are high that you'll get it right. Put it that way.
Am I guessing maybe the Sunshine region?
Not the Sunshine region.
Well,
it's a numbers game, and if we're playing a numbers game in PCA Sim Racing, there is one region that rules them all.
The Peach State region, of course.
State region of the PCA. That's exactly where Clifton Lipple's from. So, I did warn you all a few races ago that we were going to mention the Peach State region a lot of times in Series 5, but Lipple gets into, I think that was Klaus Nielsen, and they go around again. So, we mentioned the Peach State region. We haven't had the chance to mention the commentator's curse, but apologies to Clifton Lipple and Klaus Nielsen, because I think that's our first case of the commentator's curse tonight.
Yes, it is, and probably won't be the last one for this season.
So, I have a feeling you're probably right about that one too, but that bounces Lipple back to 15th, and after all of that, it does finally create some separation as Gonzalez cleared Karate, and Douglas now rides ahead of Cottle, and then Steinbrink is next in line, but he's about 5 seconds back of Robert Cottle, and so that effectively broke up that group and created a new one a little bit further back. Because Klaus Nielsen is now racing James Hsu for P11, and Sean Murphy is in the mix as well.
Indeed. So we'll have to see what will happen. Can Sean be able to pull something off and try to get up to Klaus Nielsen to break into the top 10? But Jake Steinbrink now breaks into the top 10, so let's see what he can do. Can he catch up to Cottle and Douglas?
James Hsu, part of the Upper Canada region of the PCA, also very well represented in PCA sim racing that covers the Greater Toronto area and Ontario. Sean Murphy comes from the Palmetto region. First time we've had a Palmetto driver enter the fray, but the Palmetto region covers the Greater Charleston area of South Carolina, down by the coast and by the shore. And if you want to go beaching, Polly's Island is not terribly far away, but if you want to say the Charleston area, Isle of Palm, Sullivan's Island, Kiowa Island, all in the ballpark there. And yes, incredible brunches and a fantastic city end of the day. Charleston, no doubt about it. Plenty of history to take in if you ever get the chance to go down there. Klaus Nielsen, on the other hand, for the Lone Star region, home to Doug Atkinson, one of the head honchos of PCA sim racing, and anywhere in the Houston or College Station area, you're going to see the Lone Star region take precedence. So Lone Star v Palmetto v Upper Canada, and now here comes Murphy to the inside of Nielsen. He got the good run up the hill, and it was a big block there as Nielsen's going to send it off into the corkscrew and just get in there before Murphy comes in. And then behind Murphy, you've got the lap machine of Brian Mousen.
A lot is at stake for some of these drivers. Sean Murphy, though, is going to be one to watch this season. He is showing a very good, consistent speed, but also trying to take battles and positions away from other drivers. As he dives it in there, almost makes contact to the back bumper of Klaus Nielsen in turn 11, but is able to recover, not run over the 41 Porsche as they come on the front straightaway. But he got a little bit of work to do. But small mistakes like that can cost you heavily, especially in sports car racing.
Seeing a little bit of region chat in this, so let's play this game. We'll have a little bit of fun with it. Go ahead and shout out your region in chat, and we'll see if we can get a few read off here. Of course, we try and make sure that you're aware of where our competitors are in this and where the big players are from. Seeing some love for Reason Toter in Philadelphia. Chicago region always getting some love. Jim Hemming hailing from the Chesapeake region and showing a little bias. I'll do the same and show my love for the Carolina region of the PCA. So Taylor Burris.
Space Coast.
Space Coast. Space Coast.
Space Coast. Space Coast all the way, since I'm now back here in the Florida, the Sunshine State. I could be part of the Sunshine region, but looking at the map with Volusia County, where I am currently residing in, the Space Coast region is where my PCA club would be.
Also home to the current PCA president, Tom Gorsuch, is the Space Coast region. So you've got that on your side as well. So we're seeing a Reason Torter in chat. And I think I might have food on my mind because any sort of like tart or tart chocolate cake does sound really, really good right about now.
Well,
look at that. Look at who just popped in. DJ Lion pops in chat, says, is Pittsburgh a region? If not, it should be. # Steel City. Well, Pittsburgh is
part of a region.
Isn't necessarily a region, but is the anchor of the Allegheny region of the PCA. Incidentally enough, and we'll see. I don't know if we've got any Allegheny drivers in tonight's race. We do. Actually, I take that back. Colin Thomas, who runs in 16th. So there's your beautiful transition. We'll take a moment to zero in on the number 29 car. But Colin Thomas, who was up there in the rookie battle in, was it Series 3 or Series 4? One of the two. But had a good fight for the rookie title a few series back and is now in the club class and running in 16th. But the representative from the Allegheny region in this club class, sponsored by Michelin. So there's your answer as we zero in a bit. And yeah, that's a leopard print maybe, but something tells me there's some sort of hidden black and yellow illusion and all that.
Possibly with that paint scheme, I would have to agree.
Possibly. A little bit of love for Mike Neiden in this mix too. Mike currently running in the 17th spot, incidentally, just behind him. And Mike also another one of those Peach Staters. I told you they're everywhere.
They are. I mean, well, I kind of figured, put it all together from the past few series that we've had the chance of calling together, that every corner, everywhere you look, there's a Peach Stage driver, and it's almost surprising. Or it's not surprising that every series that we'll have is, oh, there's a Peach Stage driver. Oh, there's another one. Just peek everywhere.
David Palmer, part of the steering committee from the Allegheny region. Valid point there. Neiden, another one of the Peach Staters, the storyteller du jour that we mentioned a little while ago, and driving the Stars and Stripes as per usual. You would not see the 71 car with any other livery but red, white, and blue for him. As we jump back around and start looking at how this is going to pan out. Trey Drawhorn is still your leader by about a second and change over Rafael Amarim, so not over yet, but closing in. 6 minutes 41 seconds on the clock as it stands between Trey Drawhorn and his first victory in PCA sim racing, and I know how tense it's got to be. Does Heather have any fingernails left at this stage, Taylor? I'm not necessarily certain.
I don't think so. I mean, I think everyone's on their feet trying to hope and pray that Trey Drawhorn will take home the checker flag here tonight.
I keep getting a sort of Samantha Bush, Kim Burton type vibe a little bit.
Yes, more so Kim Burton in a sense.
More so Kim Burton, and or Delana to some degree. Delana gets another every once in a while.
Very rarely though.
Right. More angry, I think, than nervous.
Well, she does wear the fire suit.
This is true. It does. We have proof from 10 years ago in Texas, if you don't believe us. But in either case, Drawhorn, Amarim, Michael Evans is third, Sean Bidet in fourth. That's a good battle back there. Just looking down the leaderboard, trying to see if we've missed a few other really good ones, and it has spaced itself out, although, surprise, surprise, you've got a group here that forms from Mark Harris, and then runs Gonzalez, Karate, Douglas, Cottle, Sue, Murphy, Elsom with a little bit of a gap after all of this, but all sort of in the mix here.
I mean, everywhere you look, we have a battle for position, and it's great to see all these drivers racing hard to the very last end. We are closing in on 5 minutes to go. And I got to say, the drivers of Spencer Karate, Kevin Douglas, and Robert Cottle have to be the show of the night between those three drivers.
Or just the group. It seems like anywhere Karate's been, there's been some sort of battle, and there's been some good racing. So I figure it's certainly a point worth making, as Karate hailing from, take a guess.
Peach State?
Peach State. With consistency this time, yes. Another of the Peach State region. I think they might have like 6 or 7 in this class in particular, so it might almost be a little bit unfair, but how about that? Old Papa Drawhorn having all fingers, arms, toes, and hair on his head cross. I suppose you could braid it if you wanted to cross that hair on your head just for good luck, yeah?
But you could. I think that would help out a little bit. Maybe gain an extra 10th.
Aerodynamic hair, right?
There, yes, of course.
Something efficiency, yeah?
Well, we know really, I mean, for, of course, me and James, for some of you who don't know, the best way to gain an extra 10th is saying some 3 famous words, but we'll discuss that at another time, perhaps.
To be fair, you got me befuddled on that one. I'll probably figure that one later.
Oh, come on. You are a co-host with me on the other stuff. Even our producer got it.
Yeah, that's fair. The question is, who will be burning rubber, baby, at the end of this? And Trey Drawhorn right now is the man. As Rafael Amarim actually overshot the Andretti hairpins. That's going to open up that lead. And we are down to potentially 2 laps to go for Trey Drawhorn. It's going to be close, but again, execution. This is not over yet.
It certainly is not. Rafael has dropped it to about 1.4 seconds, so anything can happen between him and Trey. And looking at it right now, Trey is not too far up the road. He is right there within his sights. So if Trey does make a mistake, Rafael could be there to capitalize on that now for someone like Sean Benet, as we see Rafael go off course right now. So all of that has gone up in smokes for him as he drops to about 3 seconds.
And that could be the mistake that does it in for Trey Drawhorn. Now the pressure is gone. No Amarim in the rear window, at least anywhere nearby. So this is all about just trying to execute if you are the 395. Now it really is his to lose. And he doesn't have to worry about the pressure of Amarim here. 2:23 left on the clock. And Trey Drawhorn may finally at long last be able to get this done. He's got only a handful of laps left to go.
2-minute warning now as they come across the line. 2 laps to go by the looks of it on the timing and scoring as well. And I think everyone is on their feet, just fighting to the quick to see if their hero and fan favorite Trey Drawhorn will take home the checker flag.
Something tells me that our race control is about to show off here in chat. DJ asking us, have you ever been raced and been in a school car, racing a school car at WeatherTech Raceway? I've been to the facility in person, but I've not had the chance to actually race them. Certainly a bucket list item, though. My favorite road course in the United States by a pretty solid margin. Honestly, probably my favorite track in the United States. I'll put it this way. If I were fortunate enough to grow old and have money to spare, getting a house out here and living here in the summer in particular and running this track as much as I could live a life that's worse. Could definitely live a life that's worse than that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, this is probably one of the most scenic views, the place in California I would want to be in. Although, hands down.
It is a hike up that hill to the corkscrew. You got to work out.
Well, there's nothing.
You go check the Podium Esports Instagram page. There's a story from when I was at Laguna Seca and got a few shots from the top of the hill for you all, and you can hear how out of breath I was, even in that. But all eyes on Trey Drawhorn, who will take the white flag. 1 lap to go for this young driver, but veteran of PCA sim racing, to finally claim win number 1 through the Andretti hairpin for the final time he goes.
Looking through the rest of the field, I'm going to keep it a little bit of an eye on that battle for 7th, 6th position. Spencer Karate, Kevin Douglas, Robert Cottle. Those 3 are lined up nose to tail. They're going through the rainy curve with 1 lap to go. All I got to say is prepare for some excitement there as they come up to turn 10.
We'll keep our eyes peeled on that battle as it ensues, but we'll continue to watch Trey Drawhorn, the 395 out of the Chicago region of the PCA, who has been involved for a while. Series 2, 3, 4, 5. He's been there. He's done it. He's been close, but never in this position, and gets a little bit sideways there. So maybe that was his moment, Taylor Burris, to shake out all the excess nerves, and maybe now he can bring it home clean.
We'll see what happens as he brings it around for the final time for Trey Drawhorn. And a lot is at stake. He's coming down the corkscrew or through rainy curve for the final time.
Through the rainy curve, down the hill, it's that really quick left-hander, and then the hairpin in turn 11. All Trey Drawhorn has to navigate as the clock has run out, and he will turn the final corner, and finally chat will erupt, and the 395 will bring the victory back to sweet home Chicago as Trey Drawhorn wins the season opener of Series 5 for the PCA Club Class presented by Michelin. And no question, yeah, Chad absolutely just lost its mind over there. But Trey Drawhorn, a winner at last. And now we can flip back to some of those other battles, Taylor.
As we take a look at those battles, here comes Spencer Karate right now through the corkscrew and rainy curve for the final time. Kevin Douglas still holding strong, and Robert Cottle in there in position. As they come up to turn 10 for the final time, here they go, nose to tail, everyone keeping it clean right there. Up to turn 11, Cottle goes to the outside, now crosses to the inside to the braking zone. They'll go big checkup for Douglas and Cottle as they go off wide, and that will give the position to Spencer Karate to take 6, but Cottle will take the 7th position over Kevin Douglas.
How about Robert Cottle just sending it in, but he made it stick. To his credit, it was a deep dive, but he got on the brakes just in time and made it work. So it was aggressive, but totally legal and ultimately really well executed. Credit to Robert Cottle for that pass at the end.
A good pass indeed for the end for those 2 drivers.
really crazy stuff there as Robert Connell ends up in 7th. But we'll keep an eye on the man completing his victory lap at this time. It is all Trey Drawhorn, who finally is a winner in PCA Sim Racing. And we'll take a moment while he finishes off his victory lap to bring you your full field rundown and tell you where your favorite driver finished. Trey Drawhorn, your winner over Rafael Amarim. Sean Benet finished in the 3rd spot. 4th went to Michael Evans. Mario Gonzalez finished in 5th. 6th went to Spencer Carazzi. Robert Cotto finished in 7th. Kevin Douglas out of Douglasville, Pennsylvania, finished in 8th. 9th was James Shue, and 10th out of the Palmetto region. Nice debut for Sean Murphy in the 20 car.
11th goes to Andrew Elsom, followed by Colin Thomas in 12th, with Mike Knighton coming home in 13th. Tanner Elbaga will come home in the 14th position with Jake Steinbrink in 15th. Michael Patterson will come home in the 16th position with Jean-Paul Lennox in 17th. Klaus Nielsen will come home in 18th, Patrick Gill 19th, and Mark O'Harris will come home in 20th position.
21st went to John Patterson. Bruce Robinson was 22nd. 23rd was Brett Holmes, and Clifton Lipple was 24th. 25th went to Rodney Campbell. 26th to Brady McMacken. Evan Close was 27th. 28th was Stephen Chen. Jeremy Mazzariello finishes in 29th, and 30th to Brian Melsing. It was Sergio Pazian, Ed Nelson, and Jared Roadheaver rounding out the top 33 drivers in the full field for this PCA Club Class race, the season opener for Series 5, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, presented by Michelin. Michelin, a better way forward. And we are now joined in the booth by the man in the 395 himself, Trey Drawhorn. And Trey, I know, having seen so many of these races, this is one that you have been working on for a really long time. So to be able to say you are a PCA Sim Racing class winner, race winner at last, what's the feeling? What does it mean to you?
It means everything. I've worked so hard for this, and my family has really put in the work to help me. We did a lot to get the fuel strategy, and we did the practice sessions and practice races and everything, so this means a lot.
And talk about the fuel strategy a little bit, because we know that it was close. We know it was going to be close for a lot of drivers. That's just the way these things were set up. So how tight was it for you on fuel, and how much were you having to conserve?
I wasn't having to conserve that much, to be honest. I had about a lap and a half of fuel left. But after, I don't know what happened to the second place car, but after we saw that he was dropping really fast, that we decided to lift and try and conserve as much as we can to try and get as much left. So if we need to push, we can push.
Didn't have to push in the end, though. You had the victory, and now off to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park to try and go back to back. So what's the game plan next week to try and make this 2 in a row?
To be honest, I don't know. We'll see. See what happens. Just keep working hard and finding time, stuff like that.
Keeping cards close to the vest. I can appreciate it. I know there are a laundry list of people, more so than most, I think, for you, who have helped you get to this point, and a lot of people that you need to thank. So we'll give you a little bit of extra time here, Trey, to go around and just send the thank yous to all the folks that make it happen for you in that 395 car.
Okay. There's a lot. My family, definitely. My fans, for being there every single time. Even season 1. All the people that came out today, all the people who set this up, and all the sponsors who sponsor these races. It's amazing what you guys do. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching too. It really means a lot.
I'll say it one more time, let it soak in one more time for you and your very huge fan base. Trey Drawhorn, you are a PCA Sim Racing class winner. Congratulations from everybody at PCA Sim Racing and Podium Esports. Go enjoy it, Trey. You've earned it.
Thank you.
Trey Jawhorn wins in PCA sim racing. And that concludes the coverage of the PCA Club Class event tonight, presented by Michelin, a better way forward. One more reminder before we get going with our final race of the night. If you're watching on YouTube, go to that little blue PCA sim racing icon down in the bottom left. Go back to the channel page and make sure you switch over for the final race. You're going to want to head to the Pro video, sponsored by Porsche Proper, and it is there that you will find the best of the best in PCA sim racing, ready to go for Series 5. We'll take a quick break and be back with our final feature race of the night. You're watching Podium Esports coverage of Series 5 of Porsche Club of America sim racing from the virtual WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.